So this is our first metals investment forum in Toronto. We've done two over the last couple of months here in Vancouver, so we're happy to be here. And I wanted to say thank you to Eric and Scott and everybody who puts this on. It's a great event, and we're very happy to be here. Okay, so I'll point out that we will be making forward-looking statements here, so please take time to read this disclaimer. It's important. Vizsla is a relatively new company. It's a company that I started and I took through the IPO process in 2018 in the fall. 2019 was a transformative year for us. We closed the acquisition of the options on the Pánuco District in Mexico. We raised a total of $8 million. $6 million of that was in December, and we quickly got to work in January of 2020, drilling, starting our maiden 14,500 meter drill program at the Pánuco District in Mexico. In January and February, we announced two new discoveries on the property, and we were off to a great start. The day of the Metals Investment Forum in Vancouver, we hit our high of 96 cents. And as I'll explain a little bit later, we're quite leveraged to the precious metals price, and we've come off a little bit from there. Now we're a very well structured company. The last close is actually just under 50 cents, so that needs to be updated. But we have over $4 million in the bank, 58 million common shares outstanding, 74 fully diluted. Of the 58, myself and our team and advisors own about 25%. 40% is owned by institutions and high net worth investors. Now, in light of the recent market conditions, I thought I'd address this here with a slide. Worked on this last night. So there's a couple things I want to get across about Vizsla in the context of this market. One is that we have a team that's built businesses in the worst possible environments for that. Our chairman built a coal mine a few years back in far eastern Russia after the Crimea crisis started. All money basically evacuated the space at that point, but he raised $150 million to put that into production. He was also involved in NextGen, which reached $1 billion market cap after the Fukushima disaster. And one of our directors, Simon Smirlik, has built an enormous engineering business during probably one of the toughest times in the mining industry. So we're experienced. We have the cash. We're going to be fine here. But we're also very levered to the price of precious metals. And as you saw it come off here recently, I think you'll see us have more torque to the upside as things improve. And listening to Eric, it sounds like it might be closer than some think. Yeah, fingers crossed. And we also think that when things recover, typically there's the producers move faster and then the intermediate mid-tier producers, and then the juniors move finally. We think that we'll start to act a little bit more like a mid-tier producer, so that's encouraging as well too. And of course, the project that I'm going to talk about here will be in high demand for silver producers. So what we've done in Vizsla is consolidate a district for the first time ever in southern Sinaloa, Mexico, about 45 minutes from the Mazatlan airport. A great place to work. It's probably one of the better infrastructured properties in all of Mexico. We consolidated it for the first time ever. It's been producing for 450 years. We're the first company ever to have it to explore with modern techniques, or even what's appearing to us to be any exploration techniques. We're the first group to actually put a geological map on the property. So it's very exciting. We've cut a deal with two producers in the area to consolidate the entire thing. And it includes a mill, producing workings, 35 kilometers of underground workings, tailing facilities, power to the project, equipment, infrastructure, permits, and a heat ogre. Everything that you would need to be a producing mining company in Mexico, we have in this deal that we've structured. And what I'll show you soon here is that all of the production essentially has come from one vein on the property. There's over 26 other main vein corridors there, and we're finding new ones as we work. But really important to get across here is the size of this district. It's 15 kilometers by 8 kilometers. And where you see this in other companies, you see multi-billion-dollar valuations. So what I've done here on the top left-hand corner is Vizsla here. And, you see these are the outcropping veins that we've seen on site here. New veins are being discovered as we speak, but to the right is San Dimas, Zacatecas, Fresnillo, Guanajuato, and Las Chispas. The important thing to look at here is the total cumulative vein strike. If you were to take our veins, stack them on top of each other, stretch them out all the way north, from here it would stretch all the way to Lake Simcoe. That's a big system. Big systems can provide significant resources, and if you look at the numbers below, the other tiles that you can do on our presentation, it shows, close to 1 billion ounces, in some cases 1 billion ounces of silver. That's what we're targeting here, and that's what we think is the upside. Now, I'm just going to take you into the project here. As I said, it's 15, no, that's not supposed to happen. I think it'll go away. It's 15 kilometers by 8 kilometers in total. And as I said, most of the production has come from one vein corridor right here. As I mentioned, it's very well infrastructured, and there's a 4-lane highway that runs through the property. There's high tension power that runs through the property. If you go to the west, you end up in VZLA, which is a beach resort for Canadians and Americans. About 300,000 people go there each winter and winter there. And this will give you a little view of the infrastructure that we have here. So this is the highway running across it. This is actually in the heart of the Animus vein. This is the power crossing the property. We've got to move it a bit slower. But as we pan over, we're drilling. We've completed a hole here. We're drilling here, and we found a new discovery just on the backside of this here. This is going to provide us more discovery and more results here, this area, but there's a lot more to the project. And so I'm going to go back, and I'll just show the mill that we have as well, too, under option. And it's on the southern end of the Animus structure here. So this is the 500 ton per day mill we have under option. As you can see here, too, we have a tailings facility, power to the project, and excess capacity for the tailings. Now, as we go underground, and we've gone underground and we've sampled here at the San Carlos adit, we've come across numerous high-grade intercepts and very impressive amounts of mineralization. It's been significantly mined out over the last 400 plus years, but what we've seen here on the San Carlos is 6 meters when we sampled in the underground, 6 meters of over 1 kilo silver equivalent. And when I say silver equivalent, that includes gold and silver. It doesn't include any base metal credits yet. We haven't found that yet in the system in most cases. And we've been able to intercept other high-grade intercepts underground across the district here. We're actually drilling underneath some of these ore chutes as we speak, and those results should be out very shortly, so drilling here and here. But what I'd like to point out here is the high-grade potential, and what these old-timers and what the historic miners have done here is very impressive in terms of the grade and the widths that they've mined. But as we go underneath and look at the Mariposa Ore Chute here, which has been significantly mined out, I want to point out a couple of things. One is that the average grade of reserves in Mexico is about 250 grams per ton silver equivalent. And if we zoom in a little bit here, I'll show you, if I can. Let's see. I guess it's zoomed in. I'll read these numbers off if you can't see them. But at the top of the ore chute, we see 2.5 meters of 2.4 grams per ton gold and 32 grams per ton silver. The ore chute swells and as it goes down, and it widens up to a total of 14 meters. And what we're aiming to find is other ore chutes like this, where you see 14 meters at 1.8 kilograms of silver and a very, very healthy gold credit of over 10 grams per ton gold, over 11 grams per ton gold. So there's potential for massive wide intercepts here of high grades of precious metals, and we've seen it been mined out before here on the property. Now, as we come back out, as I mentioned, the bulk of the production over the 450 years, so this project's been in production for 450 years, has only been on the Animus vein and some small workings on other areas. Zooming out to look at the entire project, we've actually gone and mapped and sampled across the project, and we continue to see high grade on all the other 26 plus other veins that we have here. And I'll just point out a couple of the highlights. So on San Antonio, the top box here, you see 0.5 meter at 4.2 kilograms silver. If you go over to Napoleon here, further west on the property, you see 0.9 meters of 3 kilograms silver equivalent. Back over to San Carlos, where I showed you earlier, 3.6 meters of, so wider intercepts of high grade, 1.2 kilograms silver equivalent. and Distribuidora on the far west side of the property as well too. 5.5 meters of 800 and just under 850 grams per ton silver. So evidence of high grade silver across the district. We have an option on the entire thing and on production. We've been making new discoveries here. I won't get into this, but this is in our presentation. We're drilling 14,500 meters. We have a geology team in the field that's aggressively exploring and finding new targets for us. We're making government relations a priority here as well. And as I mentioned, we have an option to purchase the entire district with the permits, with the mill, with the roads, with the power, with everything that you need to be a producing mining company in Mexico. And the way that we do that is we have an initial option period or due diligence period, as we like to call it. And that allows us to explore the property ahead of a purchase, an outright purchase. But the outright purchase can be over the following 4 years there. So we're in good shape. We have an opportunity to be re-rated as a silver producer rapidly, and I'm confident that we will be able to execute on this. And the reason that I'm confident about that is one is the potential of the property is fantastic, and two is we have a team that's done it before. So as I mentioned, Craig Perry, our chairman, one of the founders of NextGen, chairman of Skeena Resources, also founding shareholder and senior advisor to a $2.3 billion private equity firm called EMR Capital. Charles Funk is a fantastic geologist, our VPX. We've been able to hit the ground running thanks in a large part due to him in Mexico. But also Simon Smirlik, who's the COO of Asenco Engineering, probably one of the world's best mine builders. They built Atlantic Gold's property. They're just well known for doing this, and a great tool for a great value add for us when we go and review the infrastructure on the property. I'll also point out two other names. We're short on time, so I'll point out two other names, Yale Simpson and Bryce Roxburgh, who are mentors and advisors to the company. They sold their last two companies, Exeter and Extore, for I think $750 million in total in the last cycle. So we're very lucky to have a very strong team, and I think that's the reason why we'll be successful here. The opportunity here, as I outlaid there, is huge. I mean, it's probably one of the last great silver fields in Mexico that had never been consolidated. All we have to do is go in there, explore it, and drill it, and we have the rights to be re-rated as a producer overnight. And again, we're well funded. We're going to be able to execute on our business plan here as the markets do what they do. And again, I'll leave us on the last slide here because I think it's worth showing again. But this is the potential here. Thank you.